what is Beimel Elite Athletics? I mean, I
Yeah.
know what it is, but coming from the co-founder, I mean, let's hear it.
Yeah. Beimel Elite Athletics. Well, it started as an idea of just
Right.
bringing all of the technology, all the data, the analytics, the different training protocols and regimens, um, periodization for specific movements. And it turned into a full-time gym. Joe Beimel, my
Yeah.
business partner, and I, he's a longtime friend of mine, played for the Dodgers, the Rockies, Nationals, a bunch of big league teams. Um, we were both kind of at like a cross point in 2017 where he had actually just retired. He
Yeah.
had kind of, had a hard time kind of finding that big league contract that he was looking for.
Right.
I was still on the fence where I was actually coaching at PV,
Yeah.
right? So
And
I was,
Joe,
yeah.
wasn't Joe kind of helping out periodically at PV?
Occasionally, I mean, he'd come in just to like talk to a few players,
Yeah.
but more than anything, he was just kind of preparing himself to play. And,
Yeah.
it turned into a thing where we were doing so many different things to train ourselves and prepare ourselves. And, talking with kids like yourself that were in high school at the time and college guys
Yeah.
and other pro guys, there was just a huge lack of information as far as how people should be training and what type of data was available. So that's kind of what it turned into. It was just kind of a one-stop shop for everything, where
Exactly.
you could do your pitching, you could do your throwing analytics, you can get tested, athletically and do your strength conditioning, and have just hands-on programming and answers for things that I wish I had. Even playing in college and playing professionally, it was like it was always trying to figure it all out on your own. I had an
Yeah.
agent, played at UCLA, played in the minor leagues, and it was still there'd be questions every offseason. Hey, what should I be doing? Where should I
Yeah.
train? How much should I train? So this is taking, my experience and also Joe, who played 20 years professionally, and adding some pretty valuable experience to that.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember you guys had passed out like a flyer like after one of our
Yeah.
practices, and I think there was a couple people that had showed up. I think it was me, Aaron Davies, and did Declan. It might have been Declan that
Yeah.
showed up. But yeah, there was like
Yeah.
4 or 5 guys, and that was when you guys were still out of
The refinery.
the Torrance, yeah, out of the refinery. And then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
you
that
guys
was,
make that move to El Segundo, and then it just kind of took
mhm,
off from there. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
So go ahead.
No, that was the, yeah, very first steps. You were involved, man. It was, just an idea where we started over at the facility in Torrance, that's no longer there, but we had just invited some kids that we, knew, a few guys at PV like yourself and a few of the other pitchers, just to try and test out how people would have feedback on our program, what
Yeah.
we were going to do. And we're still working out the kinks and the timing. I know that first day we invited everyone in, it took like 3 or 4 hours just
Yeah. Yeah.
just to get like the evaluations done. And we're like, all right, this has to turn into like a multiple day thing. And then it got refined. I mean, over the past 2.5 years, or I guess just under 2 years, as far as the actual training, it's been developed and refined and improved. And so we've added so much as well, as far as like the
Yeah.
technology and the different strength, and brought in some more coaches. So yeah, it's developed into something pretty cool. And it's one of those things that I wish I had the resources to when I was playing,
Yeah.
but also, it's fun. It's like I
Exactly.
enjoy it every time I go back. So
Yeah. Are you
yeah,
seeing that? Yeah.
that
There's
was
Joe.
that was actually a project we put together, that website maybe a year and a half ago, just
Uh.
to have a little bit extra reach as far as people that were wanting a little more information without us having to send them a flyer, get on the phone with them.
Right.
But yeah, we haven't updated that in a while. I think ever since we got the Texas location, we just put that on there with the link.
Yeah.
But the information is something we wrote out, I mean, when we basically first started. So
Yeah.
hopefully I gotta scroll back through it and make sure it's still accurate.
Yeah. So I mean, you
Yeah.
started Torrance, moved to El Segundo. That's where it kind of took
Yeah.
off. And through social media, I know, I'm
Yeah.
sure that has helped you guys a lot. Just getting publicity to your page and what you guys do for people. I mean, not only are you
Right.
guys helping people out training wise and getting their bodies right and getting velo in the arm,
Yeah.
but also you're seeing results with that. Guys are actually from your training facility and from, I guess I'm going to call it the clout of working out at Beimel Elite Athletics. There's college scouts coming into Beimel Elite Athletics. I mean, like in my situation, when Chow had came in, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, college scouts, are coming in there looking at high school talent, and you guys are doing a great job of, putting talent, especially South Bay talent, kind of on the recruiting map. And I think that's definitely something that college coaches are looking forward to is, a guy that has talent, but also has the work ethic, and he's with the right guys. He's with
for sure
guys who know what they're doing, strength wise, and then pitching wise as well.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that we actually didn't even plan on really having that big of an impact with. It ended up just kind of being a result of our networks, so we knew a bunch of coaches, scouts or agents, and our years in pro ball. It was like, oh wait, hey, my buddy's actually the coach at UCLA, and my buddy's the coach at Arkansas and Long Beach State, and now I know all these people. And so it was easy for us to just like send that information. And obviously with our training, it's all results oriented. It's like the whole reason why guys are in there to see some type of tangible improvement.
There's numbers to it.
Exactly.
There's numbers
it's data driven.
I mean, you could see that you're getting better. And I think that's what gets people coming back, and it motivates them to
definitely
get that extra rep in because they want to increase whatever it is, their velo or their spin rate, stuff like that.
Yeah, and we've actually even had pro scouts in there. I know last year we had it was the Royals, the Brewers, the A's, and I can't believe how many other teams were in there. But anyways, we ended up having a kid get drafted that was kind of an unknown. He pitched 3 innings in college.
That was Augie,
get
right?
drafted. Yeah, Augie,
that is a cool story. I'm looking forward. I kind of want to sit down with Augie and talk to him about that experience because that's crazy in and of itself.
Yeah,
Augie. I mean,
more than anything, he's one of those kids that just really had the belief in himself.
He's a grinder. He's a grinder.
Oh,
when
for
it comes
sure.
down to it, I mean, he was in that gym every day for 3 hours.
Every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it shows. I mean, we have pictures and videos of when he like first started. And I mean, he had talent. Obviously, that's what got him to USC, and he was, at a big school.
And a super projectable frame.
Yeah, very projectable. Left-handed, showed sides of velo, but when he developed, I mean, he put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle and was throwing, 4 or 5 miles per hour harder on average, and ended up getting a lot more control. But more than anything, his confidence in himself too grew, knowing that he could compete, with the highest level guys because he was seeing the numbers. He wasn't just guessing and throwing at the park and going, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm good. Maybe I'm throwing 90. It was like, no, you're throwing 90, 92 every day. And you started getting up to those 93s, 94s, 95s.
Yeah.
And that's when, scouts started really calling us going, hey, what exactly is going on with this guy? Why is he not pitching if he's throwing that well? And it's like, well, here's his numbers. You can make your own decision. So
do what you want with it. I mean, he's got work ethic. He's got projectability. I think Augie's got a great future. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. So I noticed the other day you had put something, and this is something I actually saw Joe Rogan. I think I saw an ad of Joe Rogan talking about it, but it's that So Right.
Yeah.
And I know,
it's killer, man.
I know that I get like intercostal stuff all the time, especially with, I mean, when I was playing baseball and now golf, it's a twisting motion. It's hard on the back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been actually looking into getting a So Right. I talked to my mom about it the other day, and she's like,
For sure.
That looks interesting. But, what's your experience with it like?
So what we've seen, a lot of guys, especially baseball players, their hips are an extension. So they're starting to get that low back tightness, but it's really derived from something through their psoas, which is actually in the front part of their hips. And this thing is pretty killer. I mean, obviously you can see right there, 40% off right now.
Killer.
I would definitely, look into it. But this thing, you just lay on top of it and it releases your psoas. And it, if you do have that sciatic pain or something going on in your low back, it relieves it pretty instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been helpful for me. I know sometimes, traveling or sleeping on, buses or whatever. I used to get those like low back pains or like mid back pains. And when I started kind of feeling that going through the training program again, because we try to, keep up with our training and make
Yeah,
sure we're doing the
exactly.
stuff that you guys are doing. And
Yeah.
started feeling that, I was like, oh man, here we go again. I'm gonna have to go see a chiropractor or something. But
Hmm.
just laying on this thing and finding the different programs as far as the way you can find release, and it was super helpful. And
Yeah.
definitely, if you're looking into it, I would even reach out to them. They're really helpful. I mean, their social media, people are pretty quick to get back to you. And if you have
Yeah.
questions or
Definitely.
something, I know they just came out with that. What is it? The So Spine or the
So
Spine Right
spine.
or the
Yeah.
Spine Right? I think. Yeah.
I'll try
And
and
we're
find it
actually
right
just
here.
getting one of those. Yeah, they're sending us one of those too.
So
Um,
spine. There it is.
yeah, that's it. The So Spine,
So I mean, all
and
you do
those
is
things are supposed to
just
be pretty awesome too.
I mean, lay on it on your back and
Yeah.
let it go to eat and maybe rub it in, kind of
Yeah.
like you would like a lacrosse ball, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very targeted trigger point release, and it helps, man. It's an easy way to kind of, find some relief if you do, sit at a desk all day, if you're standing around and you start feeling that low back pain.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot cheaper than having to go to a doctor too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's good for quarantine. Yeah, a lot of people sitting around tightening up in the hamstrings,
Yeah.
which is inevitably going to tighten up the lower that. You played at UCLA, and just looking into it, what you were there from? Was it 2007, 2008?
Yeah, and then I stayed an extra year and ended up coaching in 2009.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a weird year for me. Actually, I was supposed to be coming back for a fifth year of eligibility. Um, and this is kind of where we started using our experience to help advise guys as far as what your eligibility window looks like and what you should
Yeah.
do as far as red shirt or options. Because long story short, I transferred from Harbor College.
Yeah.
I played 2 years there.
So you were
Ended up getting,
South High, Harbor
yeah,
College, UCLA.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So ended up getting the scholarship offer to go to UCLA, and it was like, hey, perfect school, dream opportunity, good academics, is everything I was looking for. My junior year, I ended up getting hurt like right in that winter when we came back, and instead of looking into redshirt opportunities or kind of weighing the options as far as how much playing time I'd get, I was pretty stubborn and just decided, I'm just going to play. I'm just going to go on every trip. And Coach Savage was still honest with me. It was like, yeah, hey, we want you, we need you, but we don't know how much you're going to play if you're not 100%.
Yeah.
Ended up getting only 8 at bats the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Came back my senior year, did pretty well. Still struggle with some injuries, and it was like one of those things where it's like, oh man, I should have redshirted
Yeah.
for that junior year. So what we ended up doing, talking after the end of that, I think it was the regional we lost at Fullerton. Savage like, hey, I really want you to come back and let's look into redshirt options for you. And we ended up applying for a medical redshirt that was retroactive to that 2007 year.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, it ended up being complicated where they weren't going to know for sure if the NCAA was going to approve it until like into February.
Yeah.
And we'd already kind of started. So at that point, it was like, hey, you could sit and we don't know if you're going to play or not, or we could bring you on as an undergrad assistant coach, pick up your scholarship, and then that way they're not out of compliance with that whole situation.
And you were still, I mean, what were you studying? I mean, you were still doing school there, right?
Yeah, so I went in there pre-med.
Yeah.
Really ambitious, thought I was going to be a doctor and a pro baseball
And
player.
don't worry, I came
Yeah.
into college bio with the emphasis on pre-med, so
Oh,
I
that's
totally get
exactly.
where you're coming from. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
quickly switched. The schedule and all those labs wasn't going to work out. But yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. It was partly into my senior year when I was taking like organic chemistry, advanced physics, calculus of multiple variables, like all in the same quarter, and still trying to play baseball and still trying to see if I could like maybe play professionally. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to switch.
Yeah,
But ended up, I got a degree in social science,
there you
minor
go.
in political science. I realized, obviously kind of halfway through that 5th year in 2009 that I wanted to play. That was
Yeah.
the year, Bauer and Kohler there. We had a pretty solid team that ended up missing the playoffs by I think like 1 game. But I was coaching at that point with the catchers, and we had some talent. Those kids like Stevie Rodriguez, he's a coach at Stanford now.
Yeah.
Who played professionally for several years. He's a local guy from the South Bay.
Nice.
And then Gino Aielli, who had a great senior year. He ended up not playing professionally, but great numbers. I'm trying to think who else.
You played with Brandon Crawford, right?
Yeah. Crawford was, probably our highest touted player coming out of that 2007 season.
Yeah.
Ended up getting drafted. He ended up getting drafted lower than expected, and obviously he's gone off to have a amazing career.
Phenomenal career.
But yeah, between him and Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer, it's like those are some of the best players.
Yeah, the talent that goes through UCLA, and still, to this day, they're still pumping out talent.
Oh, for sure.
A couple guys, and I know that was this. I'm gonna pull up this picture from your Instagram that I had queued up.
Okay.
Was this the alumni game? Or
yeah,
when was this
that
picture?
was actually that was 2 years ago, the alumni game. I think this past season or this past year I wasn't able to make it, but yeah, that was I think 2018 alumni game.
So who was there when they were doing that?
Oh man, they get a bunch of guys to come back. I think Bauer was pitching like 4 or 5 innings. They get a bunch of studs, like all the guys that have been drafted, and there's a lot of guys that have so much talent that barely even played at UCLA and ended up playing professionally, or guys that maybe got passed up professionally that were so good. It's pretty impressive. Even some of the guys like from PV, Matt Grace, he's still playing.
PV alum. He's in the Nationals, right?
Yeah, he was with the Dodgers for a while. The Nationals for a while. I think he was with the Dodgers recently, and I know he got hurt a little bit, but it's impressive to go back and watch some of those games, man. I went out there this year, and some of the kids they have, like their closer Holden Powell, is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Garrett Mitchell.
their Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys are just amazing. They could all be Friday guys at like almost any university, it seems.
Oh, exactly. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But that alumni is fun, man. It's definitely a good time. I feel like I gotta start getting back in shape so I can play in that game next year.
How heated are those games getting? I'd imagine if Bauer's on the mound, he's taking it pretty serious.
Yeah, he's a competitor.
Exactly,
but
and I feel like
I think more than anything, the guys on the team are wanting to get a hit off him or prove himself a little bit. But it's a fun environment, man. It's not super intense, but it's definitely a good time. I was playing at UCLA. I was roommates with Cody Decker. Ended up playing professionally 10, 11 years, kind of about the same time as me.
Right? I think I remember.
Yeah, he was catcher, first baseman, DH. Yeah, he's come into the gym a few times in El Segundo, but he ended up having a pretty cool story where his very last game he hits a walk-off homer. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
His last
game
should look it
UCLA? Up. No. His last game professionally.
Oh, okay.
So he gets to end his career with a walk-off homer. I don't know how much more storybook that gets, other than especially for being a minor league journeyman type guy. But
definitely,
yeah, he's one of my best friends and known him forever. We played against each other when he was at Santa Monica High School. He got this opportunity with the Border Youth Athletic Association in El Paso as their associate executive director. Basically, he's running all of their programs, for helping develop youth in El Paso for baseball. When he got that opportunity, he decided to, talk to the board about what Joe and I are doing in El Segundo with, kids of relative talent, high school, collegiately, professionally even, and decided to fly them out. So they came out to El Segundo to kind of see how we ran our program, what we were doing for guys, trying to help people get to, the next level, whether that's just making varsity or that was going to college. So we ended up coming out to El Paso, seeing kind of their operation and telling them like how we would change things or, improve things as far as their lifting protocols or training, bring them up to date with what's actually available for everyone, not just guys that are professional level, but anyone that wants to get better, even if it's just trying to play high school baseball. So, they ended up bringing us out. I think it was the beginning of this year. It was like January where we started kind of coming out more often. And then just recently, I'd say about a month and a half ago, it was about 2 months ago, we really started picking it up where we improved. We added all the weight room equipment.
And are you guys still doing this? You had a nutritionist come in and get with guys. I think they actually got with Augie and set them up with a full nutrition plan, stretching routine on top of what he was doing with you guys in strength training and Rapsodo and bullpens. So, like you said, it was truly a one-stop shop that ultimately got Augie to sign with the Royals. And, that's probably,
honestly, it's what we've tried to do is just bring in all the people that, are outside our area of expertise. I have some idea of strength and conditioning and nutrition and, throwing and all of that from my experience. But what we try to do is bring in, a certified nutritionist or dietitian for the guys that are serious or they're kind of at that edge where maybe they've hit a plateau or they need a little extra help or they need to find a different way to go about their training. Even someone like a sport specific myofascial release, like active release therapist. We've had chiropractors come in, different movement pattern specialists, massage therapists. So that's kind of the biggest difference is finding, once people make that initial improvement and they've really gotten better, how they continue to stay at their highest percentile of performance and also recover and continue to make improvements. Because you know how it is. You're a really good athlete. You got a D1 opportunity. You got to Cal Poly SLO, and everyone's good there. Everyone's a good athlete. Everyone, has higher expectations and they're working hard and they know how to take care of themselves, or at least, they're starting to separate themselves from everyone else in the country. And that just continues. You get into minor league baseball and it's like, okay, all of these guys were the absolute best, in their high school or their college, wherever they're coming from. And then, obviously, if you want to make it to the highest percentile, you need a little luck, but then also you have to be, the best of the best of the best, which is kind of getting crazy at that point.
Just talking on that, there's a certain point where like talent and athleticism can get you so far, but I think that Beimel Elite Athletics is a great step to kind of take your game and take your talent and athleticism and utilize it and add strength and add flexibility, add mobility, which is in turn going to help your game. And for me, coming out of high school, being new to baseball, when I got with you guys, it was like, oh, this is what I should be doing. So whatever I might have lacked in talent, I think that because of working with you guys, I had kind of got an understanding and was able to develop my body to take whatever my talent. So maybe my talent, maybe I was supposed to stop playing in high school, but because I had gotten into, getting my body right, getting those numbers up, I was able to go on and have an opportunity to play college baseball, which didn't work out for me. A bunch of things, there's injuries in there, and that's a story in and of itself. But there was one thing that I was never questioning, and that was the strength program that I was doing and the arm care. I never had an arm issue ever. And I think that's a lot of things that, especially parents, they might be protective of, like, even if it's just a high school guy who's playing year round, travel ball, and especially with those young arms, it's scary having those guys with so much talent and they're throwing so much. They gotta find a way to keep that arm in shape, because ultimately that could be, that's the arm that could be making them money one day. And I think
Yeah.
it's super important to protect that. So
Yeah, I think that's one of the most heartbreaking things that we see is some of these kids that are so talented, when they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, they're getting the most playing time. So they're getting abused, year round in these tournaments and showcases and going and travel ball. And not to say that, I'm against travel ball. I think you should definitely play. If you want to play and you enjoy it, have fun. You should definitely do it.
yeah,
But we need to do a better job of educating parents and kids to make sure that they're taking care of themselves and they're really understanding recovery and understanding their body and workload. Because what we started doing is actually recording how much these guys are throwing in any given window, whether it's year round or just when they're working out with us. And then we ask them when they come back, like, hey, how much did you throw this year? Where are your innings? How many pitches did you throw? A lot of bullpens.
yeah,
So we try to catalog all that and we can see like, hey, you've thrown more than any big leaguer this year.
yeah,
You need to rest your arm. You need to come back into your range of motion, your strength, and maybe give yourself a better window of adaptation to improve, and not just improve, but add some longevity to your career and play a little longer and
yeah.
feel healthier. Because you know how it is if you're up on the mound and you don't feel good and your arm
Oh,
hurts and you're still
confidence just goes.
yeah
Yeah, I mean, and that can
constantly
result
battling.
in so many bad things can result in
Oh, for
lack of
sure.
confidence on the mound or in the batter's box too.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things, is that we've taken a pretty wide spectrum of athlete, where we've had kids that have gotten cut from their high school team and they've come back and actually made their teams, or they've played in college.
Yeah,
We've had a few cases like Tyler Atal or TJ Sebenik and
Charlie,
even Charlie Perkins got cut by
great
2
example.
junior college teams, and now he's playing Division I baseball. He's
On scholarship,
probably
right?
on scholarship, scholarship, and
I mean, yeah, that story is crazy.
one of the strongest guys in the gym now. It's pretty impressive. He just came in.
Undoubtedly the hardest
Yeah,
worker.
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
I was in there the first day he had come in, and you guys were kind of showing him. I'm like, who is this guy?
Who is this kid? Yeah.
Kind of like smaller frame, but then he did his deadlift, and I was like, I think he threw up over 450 pounds on his first deadlift, or something like that. And I was just like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Cow.
Yeah.
So I mean,
the guy definitely is a workhorse.
Yeah. So he gets cut by 2 junior college teams, gets with you guys, gets in the gym, and ends up getting a Division I scholarship.
Pretty amazing story. I mean, even someone like JT, you remember JT Moriarty at South High? Yeah. Kid, came in and, I had worked with him a couple times before, just on catching. I used to do private catching lessons and, still do some catching work at Beimel Elite Athletics, but he came in the first time throwing, it was like, man, we're going to have to start from the ground floor. And I think we put a clip of him on Instagram too, where he started. It identifies with a lot of kids and their experience they're having in high school, where, their skill level isn't quite there. Maybe their athleticism or their strength, they're kind of getting passed up by some of these kids that are bigger, stronger, faster than them. And the coaches kind of typecast them and go, this kid's not very good. He's not very strong. He'll be on the team, but he won't really play. And he ended up actually getting a scholarship as well. He's to Menlo College up in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
But, from where he started throwing like 55 miles an hour or something like that, now he's pulling down at 90. It was just it was a product. Yeah. Pulling down at 90 miles an hour. And it's like, it's like, it's impressive to see just because it was really just, his hard work, more than anything. And that's what's awesome to see those kids on that spectrum.
I mean, the work ethic is there, but I think what also helped is, the custom lifting program, the custom arm care. I mean, everything that you guys do is made for the athlete specifically. And I mean, I'm sure it happens a couple times, but for the most part, no 2 guys are on the same strength program and throwing program. I mean, everything that you guys do is customized. I know that you guys have, or at least used to have, files, and everyone would have their binder with their name on it. Here's all their data. These are the lifts you need to be doing in order to work for your goal. I mean, for me, it was, I think when I was with you guys, I wanted to put on weight, put on strength, and increase velo. So my lifting program was much different than, say, someone who was, maybe trying to increase their mobility. Maybe
Yeah.
they had the velo, but they needed to increase mobility. And you guys are, I think, yeah, like again, one-stop shop. You guys do
Yeah.
it.
We actually, we improved that process too. So we used to have
Yeah,
binders. We had that for
yeah,
about, almost 2 years, I want to say about a year and a half. And then we ended up getting a program to where we could do it all online. And that actually helps keep us, a little more organized as far as staying on track with knowing your lifting program, seeing what you've done, going back and looking at the numbers on a quicker platform, but then also seeing throwing program, mobility, recovery, the different windows of adaptation that they've had. So we can see, okay, hey, you took off from March till June, so you were in season. And then we had you for about 3 months before that. And here's where your numbers were last year at this point. Let's try
yeah,
to improve that, incrementally now and see if you have a better starting point. Um, but yeah, we definitely try to get as customized as we can.
yeah,
Everyone, especially in high school, can get a little bigger, a little stronger. Some guys have more mobility issues than others, and some guys need to gain 40 pounds rather than 5 pounds.
yeah,
Um, but as we get a better understanding of each individual and athlete and kind of their level of dedication, um, it makes us, a lot more aware as far as how we can go about their training program, but
yeah.
also how in depth that they really want to get, because sometimes they're not willing to work out, 3 hours a day
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah. I mean, they gotta
5 days a week. And
maximize. Yeah, you gotta maximize the
yeah,
time that you put in the gym because I mean, your body can only take so much in a certain amount of increments. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
if you're gonna do a lift, my always thing is if you're gonna do a lift, don't do it half-assed. If you're gonna do it, push yourself to the
yeah,
extent because you got to be able to do it the next day.
for
Um,
sure.
so I mean, yeah, summing it up. So you guys are. When did you guys found it? So I said 2017 you guys met.
Yeah.
So
So
it's only about
2017,
2 or 3 years old, right?
right, right. So this has been something that, long story short, going back, I met Joe in like 2008, 2009, sometime around that point when I was still at UCLA actually.
Yeah,
And he was playing for the Dodgers, and he would come out and throw bullpens. And so I would just catch, play catch with him, catch his bullpens. We talk about like training, what he was doing. And ended up becoming pretty good friends because every off season, he would come back and we'd link up and work out, play catch together. Um, he started doing more and more for himself, being into his 30s, and he ended up pitching until he was 40. Just to prepare himself to be ready to compete at the highest level possible with guys that were, 20, 21 years old, all
yeah,
throwing 95. Um, so we started kind of compiling all of my experience with lifting and throwing, preparing myself from, a position player's perspective, as well as what he was doing. Um, and it just became something that, we wish we had been doing together for like 10 years. But in 2017, that's when, like I said, he retired. We started talking about, okay, well, we could do this on a daily basis with guys and actually see results rather than just, getting on the phone with them or giving them an online program. We could actually be hands on with people and start actually seeing results, seeing guys throwing harder, moving better, moving more efficiently. And that was one of the cool things is we'll get guys at that freshman high school level that end up being the best player on varsity by the junior senior year. But then we also get guys that are already in the minor leagues and they're struggling to make that double A team, or, they've been up to the big leagues and they've gotten, sent down. And Joe has that experience where he can have it resonate with them as far as how they should go about their business and
yeah,
training and changing things up. But yeah,
yeah.
it's been
I
a fun
mean,
time, man.
you're about 3 years in the making of it, and you guys have already
Yeah,
helped out. I mean, so many guys, getting them to the next level and helping them out. I
yeah,
think it's great what you guys are doing for local talent in the South Bay, and then yeah, like I said, expanding that horizon and
yeah.
now going into other states and helping those guys out. I think the future is super bright for you guys, super
Thanks,
bright,
man.
and
Yeah,
never a doubt of your guys' hard work and dedication because it's something that you guys love to do, and it just so happens to be so beneficial for the people that are involved in it as well.
yeah.
So
Appreciate that,
yeah,
man. Yeah, you're still immortalized on that 90 mile per hour club too. You did.
Oh, am I still on there?
Still on that board.
Claim to fame. All right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna,